We returned to Texas with a major shift in strategy, not the location, but the design of the trap system. This time, the traps were upgraded with a one-way gate mechanism, allowing wild boars to enter easily following their instinct to search for food, but once they cross that threshold, there is no way back. A detail that may seem simple from a technical standpoint, yet powerful enough to completely change the course of the operation, turning familiar areas for the herd into points of no escape. Installation began early in the morning, as we returned to inspect the entire area based on the latest signs. Travel routes, freshly disturbed soil, and frequent movement points of the herd were carefully analyzed. Each trap was placed precisely along their natural pathways, and then the entire area was heavily camouflaged with soil, branches, and surrounding vegetation to minimize the chance of detection during movement. Once everything was completed, we withdrew from the site and switched to remote monitoring through the camera system. The first trap was triggered late in the afternoon. Through the camera, we clearly saw the herd entering without the hesitation seen before. One by one, they passed through the one-way gate, completely unaware that the exit behind them had already been sealed. When the locking mechanism activated, the entire herd was trapped in a single moment. By the next morning, inspection confirmed everything had gone exactly as expected, fast and efficient. The second trap demonstrated the effectiveness of the new design even more clearly. Placed near an open feeding area where the boars frequently returned, the system not only held a small group but continuously attracted new individuals. One after another, they entered without any sign of caution, and none of them returned. Upon inspection, the internal density was significantly higher than in previous designs, proving the stability of the one-way mechanism. By the third trap, the effectiveness was nearly fully confirmed. Positioned deeper in the forest, in the area where the herd felt safest, it ironically became the place where their guard dropped even further. Cameras recorded small groups entering throughout the night, moving slowly but continuously. There was no immediate panic response, until the entire herd eventually realized there was no longer any exit. When we arrived the next morning, the interior was completely filled. After completing the full trap system, we reviewed the overall results. There was no major change in location, nor an increase in equipment, only the addition of a one-way gate mechanism. But that small detail completely transformed operational efficiency. In situations like this, the difference is not about scale, but about small, decisive elements. The final trap introduced a completely different situation. When we arrived, there was a mother sow with her piglets inside, seemingly a perfect outcome. But a problem quickly emerged. The mesh gaps were too large, allowing the piglets to start slipping out and escaping the controlled area. The situation turned chaotic within seconds, forcing an immediate response to prevent losing the entire group. Hunting dogs were deployed immediately to chase down the escaping animals. With their speed and sharp sense of smell, they quickly regained control of the situation. Each piglet was located and guided back into the containment area. After everything was resolved, the entire group, from the mother to the piglets, was fully secured and transferred to transport vehicles, closing an unexpected incident. When the city falls asleep, another world begins to move. Wild boars are no longer appearing only at the edge of forests, but are pushing into residential areas, damaging gardens, searching for food, and moving through streets. This is no longer just a matter of property damage, but a sign that the boundary between humans and nature is gradually disappearing. If you found this content useful, leave your thoughts and stay tuned for the next part.
What you just saw is the aftermath at a Louisiana farm after just a few days of wild hog invasion. The feral hog problem here is getting worse and is nearly impossible to control. They've spread across all 64 parishes of the state, disrupting the ecological balance and causing alarming environmental damage. Wildlife conservation agencies confirm that the destruction of coastal wetlands caused by feral hogs is far more severe than the damage in inland areas. Their numbers are truly staggering, and if not managed promptly, the consequences will only get worse. For Danielle and Bradley, life here was once peaceful and quiet, a dream many Americans aspire to. Their beautiful home sits in the heart of nature, and their livelihood depends largely on farming. However, that tranquility is constantly shattered by invasive wild hogs. In just a few short days, a hungry herd can destroy an entire cornfield, leaving them with nothing.
Watch out!
Every harvest season could turn into a disaster if the hogs aren't controlled in time. After years of struggle, they invested in advanced trapping systems. These systems are so effective they're downright astonishing. According to the LSU Agricultural Center, invasive feral hogs cause hundreds of millions of dollars in agricultural losses each year. Large farm owners take a heavy hit, and Danielle and Bradley are among the most affected. Mobile cell-trigger gate traps combined with advanced mesh enclosures can capture an entire herd of dozens of hogs in a single baiting. When operated correctly, the scene is truly impressive. A massive group of hogs contained safely with not a single escape. Setting up a successful baiting location is no simple task and often takes several days, sometimes even a week. Trappers must patiently endure heavy rain, rising tides, and occasionally completely flooded terrain. Fortunately, the traps usually trigger just in time, right before the tide comes in. When harvest time arrives, the sight leaves anyone watching in awe. Huge hogs trapped in a flooded area, unable to escape. However, things don't always go smoothly. Sudden heavy rain or flooding can damage electronics, cameras, or remote controllers. A neighboring farmer once had water breach their solar system, completely disabling all trap cameras. Still, the work never stops. They know that if they let up, wild hogs can quickly spread everywhere, destroying everything in sight. Giving up means throwing away all the effort and progress they've made. Even with high-tech tools, sometimes a simple manual drop gate trap can't be replaced. This low-cost, straightforward setup relies on classic triggering, usually just a heavy rope. When a large herd enters the feeding area, they hit the mechanism and the metal gate slams shut instantly. This method may seem old-fashioned, but it's extremely effective at capturing large numbers at once. It's a simple yet reliable solution that many experienced trappers still prefer. The best part is that nothing goes to waste. Once captured, invasive hogs are processed into high-quality frozen meat, from flavorful smoked sausages to nutritious food for the whole family. It's a way to turn a dangerous pest into a practical, abundant, and completely natural resource. Every meal becomes proof of effectively managing an invasive species without waste. Now, we want to hear from you. The feral hog crisis is a major challenge across many states, and there's always more to learn. Have you ever dealt with wild hogs on your land? Which trap designs or management strategies work best in your area? Leave a comment below to share and discuss your experiences.
This time, we returned to Texas for a large-scale feral hog control operation on Ethan's ranch. Over the past few weeks, fresh signs have been appearing more frequently than ever before. Trails have been torn up, patches of soft ground were covered with overlapping tracks, and surveillance cameras continuously captured images of feral hogs showing up at all hours of the day. Most concerning of all, these were no longer solitary animals wandering in search of food. Large groups were moving together, more organized, more alert, and seemingly far more experienced from their previous encounters with humans. Ethan called us when the damage began escalating beyond control. With each passing day, more ground was being rooted up, more fences were being destroyed, and more cultivated areas were being devastated. Faced with the situation, the team quickly developed a plan to deploy an extensive trap network across the ranch. This time, the goal was not simply to catch a few animals, but to maximize every opportunity to control entire groups of hogs operating in the area before they could change their patterns. Early the next morning, the trap locations were finalized. Every site had been selected based on camera footage, tracks, and the hogs' established travel routes. After hours of continuous work under the Texas sun, the entire system was finally ready. We did not have to wait long before the first signal appeared later that afternoon. One of the traps had been triggered. When the team arrived at the site, a group of feral hogs was already trapped inside after entering in search of food. It was the first clear sign that the plan was beginning to pay off. The excitement barely had time to settle before another alert appeared on the monitoring screens just a few hours later. The second trap had also been successfully triggered. This time, even more hogs were inside. It was clear evidence that activity levels in the area were extremely high. 2 successful activations in a single afternoon were an encouraging start, but what happened next truly surprised the entire team. As darkness spread across the fields, the camera system began sending back even more activity. On the screens, groups of feral hogs emerged from the dark woods, followed familiar trails, and moved steadily toward the trap sites. The third trap was triggered first that night. A large sounder had ventured deep inside before the gate suddenly slammed shut behind them. The entire sequence lasted only seconds, yet the results exceeded all expectations. As the first rays of sunlight appeared on the horizon, we began our rounds to inspect the sites. Even from a distance, the first trap showed promising results, with constant movement still visible inside.
Easy now.
The hogs that had been confined throughout the night were extremely active. The team quickly carried out the control procedures exactly as planned. Once the first location was completed, everyone immediately moved on to the next site without wasting a single minute.
Yeah, well, since it's maybe he's. Yeah. Yeah. Come on now. Yep, yep. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, let's go, yep. Are you in there?
The second trap delivered similar results. Under the morning light, the size of the group inside became even more apparent. Despite having been held for many hours, the animals remained remarkably alert. However, the team's experience and seamless coordination ensured that everything was handled quickly, safely, and efficiently. The final location proved even more impressive, becoming one of the most successful captures of the entire operation.
There you go. You about got it though. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Getting close on my battery. Yep. Come on. And we're gonna go to the sail.
Looking back on the operation as a whole, we truly began to appreciate the scale.
Yes, sir, Bobcat.
A trap system operating around the clock, a series of activations occurring one after another, and a busy morning spent completing the mission. It was more than just a successful operation. It demonstrated that when the right strategy is combined with thorough preparation, even the largest and most cautious groups of feral hogs can be controlled effectively.
Coming to this trapping site throughout the whole process by dogs quite a bit, or being shot at quite a bit. That one of the boars inside the trap actually had its ears. Boar's been pretty consistent with coming to the trap. Something may have happened to them, but they've also brought in 2 bigger boars in first. And as you can see in the back, and pigs come back. Now we were lucky enough to get 3. What we're left with the one of them and trying to manage the 100% control of the population.
It is the dark of night and the hunt is on for wild pigs in Texas, where they have a big pig problem. Why does this matter in Minnesota? Because wild pigs are also out of control, much closer in Canada.
Chasing me in a helicopter, trying to be the fastest white boy.
The entire family comes in? No sense.
Across many agricultural regions Texas. A quiet but intense battle is unfolding every day. Growing populations of wild hogs continue to invade farms, leaving behind torn-up fields and steadily increasing financial losses. These animals are not only powerful, but also highly adaptable to conventional control methods. In response, many landowners have turned to large-scale trapping systems unlike anything used before, hoping to stop the wave of destruction spreading across the region. Every time a sounder of wild hogs moves through an area, it can leave serious damage behind. They root up farmland, destroy planted fields, and damage irrigation systems that are essential for agricultural production. What were once isolated incidents have now become a recurring problem across many farming counties in Texas.
Looking for pigs.
At night is when you find them.
Some landowners spend thousands of dollars each year simply repairing the damage left behind after hogs pass through their property. The concern extends far beyond crop production. Wild hogs are also considered carriers of dangerous diseases that can threaten the livestock industry. They increase the risk of disease transmission to domestic swine and spread harmful bacteria throughout the environment. In addition to the economic and health risks, wild hogs can also pose a direct threat to people. Mature boars can become extremely aggressive when cornered. And encounters in rural areas, along with vehicle collisions involving wild hogs, are becoming increasingly common. For that reason, controlling wild hog populations is not only about protecting crops, but also about helping keep local communities safe. Or reduce the pressure from the rapidly growing wild hog population. Texas landowners and wildlife managers have tested a wide range of control methods, from individual traps to large-scale management efforts. The goal has always been to reduce hog numbers as quickly and efficiently as possible. After years of field testing, heavy-duty circular steel corral traps have emerged as one of the most effective solutions available today. These systems are built from thick steel panels assembled into a large circular enclosure capable of holding an entire sounder at once. The structure is anchored firmly into the ground with deep steel posts designed to withstand powerful impacts from adult hogs. The gate is built on a large scale and engineered to close completely within seconds once activated. Choosing the right trap location is critical. Areas near water sources, feeding grounds, or well-established travel routes are often given priority. Before the trap is put into operation, managers monitor hog activity using trail cameras to identify the best location and timing. Corn is used as bait and replenished continuously over several days to help the animals become comfortable entering the area. As more hogs begin moving inside the trap, infrared cameras send live images directly to the operator's phone. The most important moment comes when the entire sounder is inside the enclosure. With a single tap on a phone, the steel gate drops instantly and seals off the exit. Thanks to the remote trigger system, operators can wait until the last animals have entered before activating the gate. Significantly increasing capture success rates. Results have shown that this method can capture dozens of wild hogs in a single operation. In many cases, entire sounders with a combined weight exceeding a ton have been successfully contained within the system. The approach is considered a major step forward in reducing the damage caused by wild hogs while providing landowners with a more effective tool to protect their land, crops, and farming operations.
This time, we returned to the dense Texas woodlands, where the rugged terrain made it nearly impossible to move large traps into position. The solution was to switch to smaller, more flexible traps that were easier to conceal, even though they could only hold a few wild hogs at a time. But the real challenge was not just the size of the traps, it was how the hogs reacted to them. Would these smaller traps be enough to control this aggressive population, or would the animals quickly become wary and disappear before we had a chance to act? The first trap was placed deep in the forest after hours of travel by specialized vehicle. As we approached, we found 2 wild hogs that had been held overnight, pacing back and forth inside the confined space. The numbers were not impressive, but for a small trapping system like this, it was exactly the result we were hoping for. Without hesitation, we quickly retrieved the 2 hogs, loaded them onto the vehicle, and laid fresh bait so the trap would be ready for its next activation. The next location was a wide open clearing, an ideal place to deploy multiple traps at once. This time, we positioned 3 traps along routes frequently used by wild hogs. The outcome was not exactly what we expected. Only one trap had been triggered. However, inside it, a pair of wild hogs had been held overnight. The other 2 traps were empty, but placing multiple traps increased our chances of success, and we still achieved our objective. The 3rd trap had been set beneath a large tree, where there were clear signs that hogs often stopped before moving on. When we checked it, the trap had been triggered. They were not the mature animals we had hoped for, but they were still an important part of the overall control effort. We collected them, spread fresh bait, and reset the trap without wasting any time. A dense trap network created opportunities for unexpected success at virtually any location. And just as expected, the 4th trap had been triggered overnight. When we arrived the following morning, there was only a single wild hog inside. But its size immediately caught everyone's attention. Every movement shook the trap enclosure, revealing extraordinary strength and determination. It was only one animal, yet it was worth far more than many of the smaller captures we had made before. This was the biggest target in the area, and it led us to an entirely new design, a circular trap enclosure. Unlike traditional square cages, the circular structure eliminates obvious corners, making the trap appear more natural and less suspicious to wild hogs as they enter. Its effectiveness was proven almost immediately. When we checked it, the circular enclosure had captured a pair of wild hogs that had moved continuously around the curved structure, completely unaware before stepping inside. On the way back, the trap beneath the large tree was unexpectedly triggered again in just 2 hours, breaking all previous speed records. This area was clearly a hotspot, where wild hogs moved through constantly without showing much caution. The long day came to an end once every trap had been checked. This time, there were no massive captures, but the smaller trap system proved its value in a different way. It was reliable, precise, and consistent. From pairs of smaller hogs to powerful mature animals, every trap delivered its own result. Looking back at the tracks still marked across the ground, we knew there were more hogs out there that had yet to appear. With the trap network already in place, it was only a matter of time before they wandered into the next set of traps. Today, we did more than control wild hogs. We learned how to maximize the effectiveness of every small trap by taking advantage of the terrain and the animal's natural behavior. Every movement and every result brought us one step closer to controlling the entire area, and the operation was far from over. Patience, precision, and careful strategy had achieved results that large traps simply could not deliver in this rugged landscape. And with traps deployed throughout the region, it was only a matter of time before the biggest and most cunning animals were finally captured, bringing victory in the ongoing battle to control Texas's wild hog population.
In Arizona, feral hogs are becoming one of the most serious problems facing agricultural areas. Their numbers have increased rapidly over the past several years, causing ever-growing losses for farmers. At night, herds of feral hogs frequently invade crop fields, rooting up cultivated soil, destroying crops, and leaving behind devastated farmland. In response to this situation, a large-scale control campaign has been launched in the hardest-hit areas in hopes of reducing the pressure these animals place on local agriculture.
Soil processes increases erosion.
A series of traps were positioned along the feral hog's most commonly used travel routes. The objective of the campaign was clear: to stop the uncontrolled growth of the hog population before the damage spread even further. This morning, we began our journey to inspect the trap sites after a night of activity, and what awaited us quickly exceeded all initial expectations. The first trap was located in a pine forest not far from a farm. As soon as we arrived, the entire team realized that it had been an exceptionally successful night. Inside the steel enclosure, numerous feral hogs were trapped together, constantly searching for a way to escape. A single trap alone revealed that the hog population density in the area had reached an alarmingly high level.
Walk around. Get him, girl. Hey, hey. Get in there. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Leaving the pine forest behind, we continued eastward to an oak woodland. This area was known for the frequent appearance of fresh tracks and patches of freshly rooted soil. The scene here nearly mirrored the results of the first trap. Several feral hogs were confined inside, repeatedly crashing into the fencing in desperate attempts to break free. The success of the first two traps clearly indicated that the operation was moving in the right direction.
Yep. On the bus. Let's go get on the bus. Come on.
The next inspection point was located near the edge of the forest along a route commonly used by feral hogs traveling between their shelter and feeding grounds. After nearly half an hour of travel, we arrived and were immediately overwhelmed by the sight before us. Dozens of feral hogs were packed tightly behind the steel barrier, creating a chaotic scene rarely witnessed. This was not only proof of the effectiveness of the trapping system, but also a reflection of the true scale of the problem local farms face every day.
That's too big. Really sure, but we'll find out here shortly. Move this over.
The deeper we moved into the forest, the more surprising the results became. At an open clearing where surveillance cameras had recorded heavy feral hog activity the previous night, another trap was filled with newly captured animals. The constant sound of bodies slamming against the steel fencing echoed throughout the area, demonstrating both their strength and aggression. This location alone was enough to explain why strong control measures had become necessary. As the afternoon gradually passed, we reached another trap positioned deep within the forest near a massive ancient tree. Inside were enormous feral hogs, significantly larger than any we had captured earlier. They repeatedly charged the fencing with astonishing force. Seeing these animals up close made it easy to understand the level of destruction they could inflict on crops if they were allowed to continue roaming freely around agricultural areas. That'd be why the time the sun disappeared behind the treetops, the final trap was inspected. Once again, the results surpassed expectations. After hours of non-stop travel and work at the trap sites, the number of feral hogs captured had risen dramatically. A substantial number of animals had been removed from the area, helping reduce pressure on local farms and lowering the risk of future damage.
A big, cute, short thing.
Always gotta love customers.
Come on, hey, 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 hey. Left, one. This one to the vet. All right, on to the next one.
Although the battle against feral hogs in Arizona is far from over, this operation has already produced clear results. If left uncontrolled, the feral hog population will continue to reproduce, expand its territory, and cause increasingly severe losses for farmers as well as the local ecosystem. After a long day of non-stop effort, the agricultural areas surrounding Arizona's forests finally have a better chance of entering the next growing season with greater security and protection than before.
Folks, that there's an attitude about pigs that they're disgusting, they're just dirty creatures, and they kind of just want them dead. And I've talked to people that go helicopter hunting, and I go, well, what do you do with all the pigs? And they're like, you leave them there. And I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't seem...
In the United States, wild boars are among the most dangerous invasive species. They are intelligent, highly adaptable, and reproduce rapidly.
Come on, one!
Domestic pigs brought by Spanish explorers in the 16th century escaped into the wild, and evolved into feral populations, spreading across the southern states, destroying crops, tearing up soil, and severely disrupting ecosystems. Over centuries, they have become a powerful wild animal, now appearing even near residential areas, posing both economic and environmental threats. In the early 20th century, European wild boars were imported into the United States for hunting purposes. After escaping captivity, they interbred with feral domestic pigs, creating an extremely dangerous hybrid. Faster, more aggressive, more resilient, and more destructive than their ancestors. Their reproductive capacity is alarming. A single sow can produce 2 litters per year, with up to 12 piglets per litter, allowing the population to double within months if left uncontrolled. This makes traditional control methods largely ineffective, as new populations are constantly being created before humans can respond. The USDA estimates that there are currently around 6.9 million wild boars in the United States, with Texas alone accounting for about 2.6 million, spread across 253 out of 254 counties. They can run at 30 miles per hour, jump 40-inch fences, and have tusks over 6 inches long with skin thicker than 1 inch, making light weapons ineffective. The damage is very real, from military airfields forcing pilots to abort takeoffs, to golf courses, residential areas, and underground fiber optic cables worth millions being destroyed. One farmer lost 24 acres of corn in a single night, around $40,000. Texas alone suffers over $500 million in annual losses, and nationwide damage reaches around $3 billion, not including livestock, bird eggs, and widespread ecological disruption. Traditional efforts such as trapping, hunting, or simply pushing pigs into neighboring counties have largely failed. When they return, they are smarter, more cautious, and better at avoiding any signs of previous control groups. Each reproductive cycle increases the population further, and every removed group is quickly replaced by new herds migrating from nearby regions. Helicopter culling and ground teams only provide temporary relief, while the population continues to expand. Farmers have begun adopting a different strategy. Intelligent corral traps combined with fermented corn to encourage the boars to enter confidently. Once the animals feed, relax, and return repeatedly over several nights, the trap is triggered when the entire group is inside. No individuals survive, preventing the herd from learning how to avoid it in the future. This technique exploits their behavior and intelligence, taking advantage of how they observe their environment and pass learned behavior to the next generation. Today, farming communities in Texas combine resources, using smart trapping systems and helicopter surveillance, while also protecting allied wolf populations, natural predators in the ecosystem. These wolves target piglets, directly reducing the population's future growth. In Atascosa County, this strategy has reduced corn damage from 600 acres per year to nearly zero, proving the effectiveness of combining ecological balance with technology. Traditional methods only provide temporary impact, catch a few individuals, and the remaining herd teaches the young to avoid traps. The population disperses and establishes new groups in previously cleared areas. Helicopter-based removal only shifts the problem elsewhere. In contrast, the allied wolves affect the next generation directly, targeting the reproductive stage where future populations are determined, enabling more natural and effective control than any human-led campaign. Camera systems and research data show that these wolves learn to hunt piglets in coordinated groups, using precise timing and teamwork to exploit moments when mother sows are exhausted from night foraging. This behavior is learned and passed down through generations, creating a natural pressure that human programs have not been able to replicate. Data from Texas and Georgia shows significant population declines in areas with continuous wolf activity, without the need for extensive trapping or artificial hunting. The story of wild boars in Texas demonstrates that nature has powerful self-regulating mechanisms, which humans sometimes unintentionally disrupt. If you found this content useful, please leave a comment with your thoughts and share it with others interested in agriculture and wildlife.
It's estimated about 6 million feral pigs are roaming America, causing an estimated $1.5 billion in damages. Just this week, a group of senators introduced legislation aimed at eradicating the destructive animals, but no one's quite sure how.
In March 2021, the Texas Hill Country became the center of a strange investigation when wildlife officers discovered 17 feral hogs scattered across a forest covering more than 200 acres. What caught their attention wasn't the number of animals, but how everything had happened so quietly and without the usual signs of human involvement. There were no shell casings, no drag marks, and no clear evidence of a conventional hunt. The animals had only been partially eaten around the neck and shoulders, then left exactly where they had fallen, as if whatever brought them down had no interest in carrying off a trophy. Over the following days, the area was secured and monitored using infrared cameras and feral hog control traps. But instead of solving the mystery, the equipment pointed investigators in a more suspicious direction. Small tracks began appearing around the scene. They didn't belong to large predators such as bears or mountain lions. Instead, they resembled coyote tracks, a species generally considered far less powerful than an adult feral hog. After that discovery, the entire control strategy in the area was adjusted. Old metal traps were replaced with large corral-style systems positioned along the hogs' natural travel routes. Rather than being set individually, the traps were linked together to create pressure zones that funneled the animals through specific control points. Some were upgraded with one-way gates designed so that once a few hogs entered, the rest of the group would naturally follow. At the same time, wildlife officers began testing concentrated bait sites in areas showing heavy rooting activity. Feed was placed in stages, starting from the outer edge and gradually leading deeper inside to guide the hogs in a controlled pattern. Cameras captured multiple instances of hogs approaching the setups, but only a small portion were actually caught. Most quickly learned to avoid locations where previous losses had occurred. In a few rare recordings, cameras also captured signs of coyotes moving along the edges of the trapping areas. They didn't directly interact with the traps, but often appeared shortly after the hogs had passed through, focusing on young individuals that had become separated from the group. The attacks happened extremely fast, often lasting only a few seconds, just enough time to isolate the weakest animal before disappearing back into the woods. What stood out was that the coyotes never lingered at the scene. After each encounter, they immediately retreated, following the same trails used by the hogs as though they had already predicted the herd's next move. Some footage even showed them standing motionless at a distance, waiting until the hogs had cleared the trapping zone before making their move, revealing a clear level of caution and calculated behavior. But what made the entire trapping system even more challenging wasn't the predators. It was the memory of the feral hogs themselves.
During the next 24 hours, heavy rains overnight.
After being captured or narrowly escaping a trap, they changed their travel routes, shifted their movement to early morning or late night hours. And in some cases completely avoided areas carrying any human scent. Larger groups sometimes split into smaller units, moving independently to reduce the risk of being trapped all at once. As a result, even as the number of traps increased, success rates remained inconsistent. Some operations captured dozens of hogs at a time, only to see new groups move in from surrounding areas shortly afterward. The trapping system began to resemble an ongoing race in which humans stayed fixed in place while the hogs constantly adapted their strategy. Throughout the entire process, what stood out most was not a decisive battle, but a two-way cycle of adaptation. The traps became more sophisticated, while the feral hogs became increasingly unpredictable. And through all of those changes, nature continued to intervene in its own way, following no one's plan. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave a like to support the video, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next chapter of this story, where nature always seems to change faster than we expect.